We're back, yay.
Okay, well, Lisa put me on to using Canva for presentation, so I thought I'd try it out today to see what I think. But anyway, we're gonna go through the treasurer training today. We're gonna try and keep it pretty simple. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kristen Simons, and I was the treasurer for state, and I've also spent some time as treasurer for the local unit as well. Here's my contact information if you don't have it. So what are your roles and what do you have to do as the treasurer for PTA? Well, a lot of little stuff gets dumped on you. You have to keep an accurate and full account of all the receipts and disbursements for your unit. You're responsible then for preparing a financial statement to give at the membership meeting. And that is part of the permanent record of your PTA. You, as treasurer, you should be knowledgeable about the PTA's mission statement, the bylaws and policies. You need to know when you can pay bills, what sort of documentation you need in support. How long do you keep all your documents? What needs to be kept forever? What do you only need to keep for a couple of years? And then the treasurer is also responsible for chairing the budget committee. You do not have to do the budget by yourself, absolutely not. But you are responsible for getting the information together and getting it ready to present to your board and to your membership. Okay. And then the last piece that you're really responsible for is you have to prepare the financial review, which on the national site where Nikki was showing, they call it an audit. We're small, it's mostly a review. Somebody to check to make sure all the finances are being paid the way they're supposed to be, recorded, and that the documentation is all there. And then you are ultimately responsible for filing the tax documents, usually as directed by the president. You also get to submit all the dues to the state as the treasurer. So what are the things that you usually want to do first when you first become elected? Well, your first step is you're going to want to start to gather a lot of documents. You want to get your bylaws, because your bylaws will typically tell you, do you need those 2 signatures on a check? Do you need to have somebody that will reconcile? What other duties has your unit assigned the treasurer? You also want to gather an approved budget. Some units approve a budget in May to at least cover summer and early fall activities. And then you can also gather an approved budget from the previous year, so you have something to work from. You're going to want to, is there a question? Okay, you also want to get the checkbook from the previous treasurer, and you want the ledger, whether it's a paper ledger or electronic. I've seen some units that they don't have a ledger at all, but you want some way to keep track in order to do your financial review at the end of the year. You also want to be able to gather your IRS information, particularly your EIN number. And that can also be found in Member Hub if you don't have any of the documents to find that in. The other thing you want is you want to get the most recent financial review. If one has not been done before you started, you're going to want to get that done right away, because it's just somebody else looking through the records to make sure everything is correct so that you can start with a clean slate. You're also going to want to gather any old bank statements and gain electronic access to the banking account. The other thing you want to do is you want to start protecting your unit, is you want to check to see if the 990 was filed with the IRS. You can check with the state. You can check on the IRS website when you check for the status of charitable organizations. Then you also want to take time and update the bank account signatories. So you as the new treasurer, typically the old treasurer will go to the bank. Some banks required signed minutes to go with it. And then you can add the new person on and remove the old treasurer. You also want to take time to learn about and pay for the insurance. That is something that, as Cheryl mentioned this morning, it is due by October 15th. And if you have questions about what's necessary, feel free to ask us. Everybody's required to have general liability. And then you can also choose to add those additional pieces like social media or bonding. And then you'd have to follow the instructions on the insurance policy to make sure it stays compliant. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to meet with your president and you want us to confirm and update any of the procedures that are in place for handling money, getting reimbursed, and applying for grants. And you want to educate any of your board members or your committee chairs as to how things how you'll handle all the money. And please ask for help as you need. Do you guys have any questions so far?
I don't have any questions, but I would like to add, because I think this is a little scary for some folks, is that this isn't something necessarily that PTA has dreamt up and required just to make more work. This is a part of maintaining the 501c3 status. So this is actually federal
law.
Federal law. Yeah. Yep. So it's not something we're doing just to try to stress people out and make more work. It's part of being the 501c3. So if anybody has questions about that, please reach out to us. We're happy to go into that deeper.
Okay. So resources, as Nikki was pointing out, if we go to the National PTA site, there's lots of resources. The state PTA is a good resource. Every local unit also has a liaison to the state board. So they are an excellent resource. Member Hub, I believe everybody is on the state Member Hub organization. And there is a bunch of templates and instructions that have been uploaded there. We've also started putting videos up on YouTube, like how do you add your members? How do you file your taxes? Or I don't even have an account on the IRS website. How do I set that up? That's included as well. And then we've started a new Facebook group. And this Facebook group is a way to ask your community of leaders in North Dakota whatever you want. Like, are you stuck on how do I report dues? How do I fill out my 990? How do I keep a ledger? What do I need in the ledger? That's another good resource. So you could ask questions. I'm going to flip over now.
We did have a quick question.
Okay.
Are we going to have these slides up as reference somewhere after the convention?
Yes. We were going to upload all of them into the Member Hub document site. I believe we had talked about this, and there is a folder, or there will be a folder with convention, and then any of the slides that we've presented here should be up. Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. So if you go back to the National PTA site, where we've got Finance 101, they have strategies. They remind you if you collect cash for anything, cash should be deposited right away into a PTA account. You shouldn't leave it laying around. It shouldn't go into a school fund or another organization. Typically, if you work together, like with a booster club or something, you don't want your money to all go to them and then have them write you a check, or all the money go to you and then write a check. Ideally, from the source, you want two separate checks coming out, because you want to keep the funds separate from PTA, from other organizations. I'm not sure if all of you realize this, but PTA is actually a corporation with nonprofit status. So each PTA is its own business.
And therefore, you don't want to mix your dollars with the school's dollars either. Those have been separated out, but we have found in more than one instance where PTA dollars have been put into school accounts. PTAs don't often receive their full amounts back. And the principals really like to tap PTAs as checkbooks. So please recognize that you are an independent entity, and that they do need your permission. And we are not part of the school, we are separate. So questions about that, let us know.
So for those of you that are looking out there, new to the position, you're looking for learning, you can go into their templates and tools under the finance section, and you can go through all of the different e-learnings. You can learn about budgets, management, what you need to do to that 501c3 compliance, how to prevent theft. And the interesting thing that they've uploaded in the last 6 months or so is now they have sample budgets, they have sample reports, and they're in Excel files, so you can download all of them. You don't have to start from scratch. They even put instructions up for the 990N. That wasn't here even 3 months ago. Okay. And if you want to see everything that they have, you can download the quick reference guide as a PDF and print it out if you want something hard copy. Okay. I'm going to skip over just a few more things. Going back into the national site, into the local leaders, it's like when you become a local leader or you take a new office, please reach out. Reach out to your state PTA, reach out to your other local PTAs, and use your social media. That's so important. I'm just skimming through things really fast. They have a list of the president's roles and responsibilities, which Nikki had already covered. Then we go into the treasurer one, and they tell you everything that you're expected to do. And I hate to tell you treasurers, but a lot of the good standing stuff falls on your shoulders. Doesn't take long, but it's just one more thing to take care of. Okay. And then I want to go to Member Hub. I don't want to run out of time for this. Okay, so if you go in to the North Dakota site and you go into communications, and you should be able to go into files and photos. We're going to go into treasurers. There's a good standing checklist for your unit. There is a unit budget and ledger template. It also includes the financial review form, and it's set up to pull numbers off of the spreadsheet. If you have questions, feel free to ask. This is something I started, Kathy modified, and then I modified again. So it's got a lot of information that you can use. Sometimes people, for looking at the audits or the financial review, they're like, so what do we need to do? So there's a template written up here as a starting point that you can read through as a treasurer to see how to prepare it. And then you can give it to those people who volunteer to review your records. There's a template in here for what you can put in a treasurer's book if you still want a binder for your treasurer's book. There's cash count ones here. And then there's the records retention schedule. It's always kind of nice to know what you need to have for that. I don't know. Like, how long do you need to keep your minutes? How long do you need to keep all of your monthly reports? How long do you keep bank statements? So if you, and this came from the IRS website, so you can see, so like if you have, let's see, bank reconciliation should be kept 2 years. Your audit reports or your financial reviews should be kept forever. Your ledgers should be kept for 7 years, and then please throw them away. Contracts for 7 years, checks, if you continue to get them, you should keep them permanently. Yeah, chart of accounts you need to keep, any cash books you need to keep, financial statements you need to keep forever. Yeah, is there any questions on this?
How does the ledger pertain to electronic? So if you've got it in, online or other application in the 7 years, how do you want them to go delete those transactions after 7 years out of those?
I would say if it's electronic, just leave it. It's not taking up space unless you need memory.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have any questions? How many of our treasurers have used Member Hub to submit membership? I can't see you guys. I'm sharing my screen, so I don't see everybody.
I feel your pain. I went through the same thing, but Jeff raised his hand.
And I know Ryan raised his hand because we've done it, so.
Okay. And Kathy, I think you have too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have. Sorry.
Okay, that's good. I like back and forth. I don't like to hear me talk the whole time. Do you guys have any questions for me? Ryan and Jeff and Kathy. I know Kathy's been in the position for a year. Ryan, have you been in there for a while?
This is my second year.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, I ask you my questions when I have them.
Okay, that's fine. That's what we're here for.
Kristen, I do have a question.
Yes.
Because it's been a while since I've been at the local level. Now we're off into middle school, and it was elementary when I last had this question. But if there are going to be nights like bingo nights and permits need to be filed for, I know for Fargo they do. I don't know about our outlying areas. I don't know about Minot or Castleton or anybody else, but is that the treasurer's responsibility to file for those permits where they are applicable, or who handles that?
I'm not sure, but I would place that as, since it would be a permit, is more like a contract, and I would put that in with the president's job.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know if that was more because it had to do with the dealings of cash and games of chance and all that kind of stuff, if that fell under the treasurer's purview. But I know we've handled it in the past. I just don't remember who.
For legal responsibilities, it would be something that I would designate and let the president deal with.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I
The
would think-
treasurer is going to have to deal with all the funds from it.
Kristen, where is this located on Member Hub again?
You have to go into the state organization. Are you in there?
Yeah.
If you go into the state organization and you go to communications,
Okay.
go to files and photos,
Okay.
and then go to treasurers.
I don't have that one.
Okay, then you need to join the treasurer's one.
Okay. Oh, is that one of the hubs?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I may need help with that offline. Because my hubs tile is grayed out.
There should be a join hubs if you go back to communications.
Oh, there. Okay. Oh, I got it. We're good.
Okay, does anybody else have any more questions for Kristen while we've got our Member Hub guru here? Well, and Jeff too. Kristen and Jeff have both done a great job of digging in and figuring out all there is to know about Member Hub, and then to try to keep up with changes. No more questions? Well, be sure as you guys are working through it, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. We want to answer those questions. We don't want you to be kept hanging. Okay, and if we don't have the answers, we will find one. We will figure it out. Member Hub, again, is very responsive. Their customer service is really strong. So want to throw that out there as well.
Yeah, I'm back. My computer completely flickered and died, and we'll see what happens.
Oh my. Okay, we don't want to guarantee that kind of thing. So, oh goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I'd like